Let me just
So you
double
were in
check
New York.
one thing before we go. So this is going to be
Oh, we're going.
this episode. Oh, we're going?
Oh, that's how we always do.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Backstage Boys podcast. This is Trent
Basil.
and this is episode 11 because the ironically, Basil, the Austin 10-12 episode was episode 10.
It was episode 10. It was a little short,
It was a little shorty, a shoddy.
but we had to make do with what we had.
Yeah, so we're here. Before we get into it, let me just tell everybody where they can find us. You can find the Backstage Boys podcast on the BSB show at Twitter, Facebook, and we on Instagram yet?
Next week.
Next week, Instagram. Okay,
Yes.
and then you can also find the show on Apple, Apple iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. So find us there, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, let us know how we're doing. And all right, so now the business is out of the way. Let's jump in. Episode 11.
We were everywhere.
Everywhere. You
But it's
were in
weird.
Texas.
We're actually everywhere right now.
Yeah, that's
we're
true.
We're not recording in the same room, which is very weird.
This is the first time we've been apart for recording.
This is like the longest we've been apart
Honestly, I think it is.
in like a year. I think this is like the longest we haven't seen each other.
We're having separation anxiety.
I'm
But,
feeling it.
I think the
feeling it.
farthest it's the longest and farthest we were both in different distances. I was in New York. You were in Texas.
Yeah, it's usually one or the other traveling. We haven't both traveled at the same time.
Yeah, so we were apart for a while, but we were for good reason. For good reason. You went down to the AAW Austin 10-12 show to work that.
Literally went down.
You went down. We'll get into that 17 and a half hour car ride. What did it end up being longer, or was it 17?
Oh, on the way back, you don't even want to know.
We'll get to that for sure. We're gonna get to that for sure. And I was in New York City, which I flew very comfortably in a nice 2-hour flight to LaGuardia Airport I was there for Bound for Glory weekend. So
The jealousy is real.
the jealousy is very real because I heard about the woes you guys had just getting the truck to get down there, and the day before.
Oh, jeez.
So let's start it off because since Austin 10-12 came first,
Yeah.
we can talk about you guys.
Okay, so Brian with the Y came to my place. Like, I got off work at like 6. I drove home through rush hour. He came to my place. Him and I both ended up going to the rental. All these issues with the rental ended up happening. They're like, oh, since you have an Illinois driver's license, like an in-state one, you have a 250 mile per day cap.
Oh my
And the drive down there is 1,100 miles. We had the van set for 3 days. We would have tripled the miles.
God. Oh my god.
So we canceled it, and then we couldn't get a rental till the next day because it was 8 o'clock at night. So we got to the rental at 8 in the morning, and the lady was late, so we were like, this is perfect. But she was only a few minutes late, and she upgraded our car. We were supposed to have this like little coupe, and we were like, fuck, this is gonna suck. And she upgraded us to a RAV4, which was really nice. Super comfy, nice and big. It made the ride a lot better.
So you went down to RAV4?
We went up to a RAV4. We were supposed to have a van. We canceled the van. Then we got a new rental for a car, and she upgraded us from the car to the to a RAV4.
Interesting. All right. So you and Brian went down in a Toyota RAV4 to Texas.
Yeah, and we picked up Myron on the way. He picked him up in like I don't
Kentucky,
remember the
right?
name. No, it wasn't Kentucky because we weren't gonna go. If we went to Kentucky, that would have added another 350 miles to the drive because
Are you serious?
That's going east. We were
Oh
trying to go
yeah.
southwest, and so we found like a middle point. Like he had to drive a few hours, but it only took us like 20 minutes extra out of our way, and this was not that bad. It was like not St. Louis, but it was like 2 hours east of St. Louis, like
Okay.
right at the tip of Illinois and Indiana.
Oh, okay.
I forgot the name of the town. I really don't care. It was so bad. And so we picked them up, went down. We got to Texas around 4:30 in the morning. After we left at like 11, because we picked up the rental, went back to my place, dropped off Brian's car or my car, and then got breakfast and then drove down. Because I knew I was gonna eat like shit, so I just wanted to have like a decent meal.
That was so keto was out the window on this
No,
trip.
yeah. When we got down to when we were driving down to Texas, keto was gone.
So you and Brian pick up Myron Reed about 5 hours in. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so he drove to Myron, and then I drove probably for about 8 hours straight. Like, I'm really good with driving. When I drive, I can drive for a long amount of time, and I only stop for gas and if I need to go to the bathroom, and that's about it.
Man. So that's 12 hours. You still had 5 hours to go
So,
after all that.
yeah, I passed out, and Brian was driving, and then wake up at like 4 in the morning, and then there was an issue with the room when we got there. So it's like 4:45,
Oh my God.
and the lady took down the wrong card number that Danny provided. So it wasn't going through. And we didn't know if he was awake or not, and we found out he was, so we could have called him, but it ended up working out better because we had a single bedroom, a pull-out, and a couch for all three of us.
Was it all three of you? Like Myron was staying with you?
Yeah, Myron stayed with us all weekend. And what ended up happening is I convinced her to get us 2 beds and the pull-out, and she was trying to make me feel guilty. She's like, I already put the pull-out in the room. And I'm like, I just drove for 18 hours, and I want a bed. She goes, you'll just pass out anyways. I'm like,
are you serious? What hotel was this?
It was horrible. And I was like, I want to pass out comfortably. Like, I'm not trying to be a prude, but I just got done driving from Chicago to Austin, Texas. I want a bed. So she actually moved us this new room that had 2 beds, and then we grabbed the pull out, and the room was cheaper. So
Weird.
Yeah, so I ended up just fronting the money for it. Danny paid me back. Like, I wasn't worried about that or anything. But it was actually ended up being cheaper, which, Danny loves.
Yeah, Danny loves the value.
Yeah, so I showed him, I was like, yo, I saved you $40, but, pay me. So, Danny always takes care of all of us if we have to do anything like that, so.
It was also his birthday that day, too.
It was his birthday, so it was good. But,
I missed a good opportunity to post a photo, happy birthday to Danny Daniels on Instagram.
Yeah, you were too worried about being all in New York and everything.
I was living it up Friday night. I was having a great time in New York City.
You were with your lady and all that stuff. So
yeah, we were all over the place. But yeah, man. So show was good. Tell us. I mean, I tuned in for like a second on Twitch. I was out. I forgot where I was. We were out somewhere in New York, and I just popped on Twitch for like a second and saw Rich Swann making his entrance and slipping on beer, which he talked to me about the next that they had Bound for Glory.
Dude, Swan slipped on his own beard. Or beer.
Yeah, he told me. It was his own beer.
I don't know, he changed his entrance. Like, he had some... I don't even know what the song was. And then was just drinking beer like he was stone cold in 98.
Yeah, well, it was Texas.
Yeah, but, like, this was a lot of beer. There was beer everywhere.
That's what he was telling me, that there was beer everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I saw him slip. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I found like a bunch of people. I was like, yo, I need you guys to clean this so I don't die running around the ring.
So the thing I noticed when I tuned in was that the building looked dark.
Oh, the building was so dark. This was the worst lit building I have ever taken pictures in. And remember, I took pictures in a building without lights. So LaSalle with no lights beats this building, because the problem was, and I hate it, I hate when we use building lights. Like, I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna vent, but building lights are not wrestling lights.
No.
Because there was no lights directly above the ring. It was the worst lighting situation ever.
Yeah. Did I see this correctly? Were the walls like yellow, or they have like a yellow curtain on them?
Well, there was a yellow curtain on one side because it's like a theater. It's
right,
like a
right.
legit theater for like live stuff.
Yellow walls on against shit lighting is awful.
Oh, it just looked like piss and shit. I'm not gonna even lie. Like,
terrible.
The fans were awesome. The building was cool, but if we had spotlights, like, it would have been so much better. Just four little lights.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go up and hang a bunch of speed lights or something like that up on the roof. I'm not WWE or anything like that.
We have those spotlights in LaSalle, that we use,
and it makes LaSalle really easy to shoot in that building. Like,
right.
The lighting at Bourbon on point.
Bourbon's awesome. Yeah.
Logan, I don't know what's going on with the lighting in that building, but it's been weird. It's been really weird. Changed. Mike confirmed that it was changed.
No, it was dimmer. It was definitely 200% dimmer. And something just seemed off about it. Yeah, I didn't think it was the same.
Because I have presets for all our buildings built into my camera, and it just threw me off. So, but this building was it was super dark. And so Watson was there with me too. And he was shooting a lot of ringside most of the night. And it's not that the lighting was bad enough, but I'm not trying to vent or put anybody on blast, but the refs, they were god-awful.
No, were these Wrestle Circus refs? Who were these refs?
One of them, I believe, was with Wrestle Circus, but I don't know about the other two. I think there was 3 refs total, 3 or 4.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're just not used to photographers being ringside or something like that, but they just didn't have that great of awareness. So it just blocked a lot of lush shots, and we were just thrown off completely by it.
That sucks. I mean, especially for you, because you're pretty good about making sure your refs aren't in your way of your shots. And if they have no awareness and you have to fight their lack of awareness with like your presence around, that sucks. That totally sucks.
Yeah, I just didn't like it at all.
So, okay, so bad lighting, bad refs. Who set up the building? Like, who was the crew running the building?
So
who did we have?
They already had crew down in Austin, and like they were cool. Like the crew was cool. The wrestlers were great. I mean, the show itself was good. I'm not gonna say the show was bad by any means. Like there was a lot of good matches. I was happy with it. It was cool to be in Texas. It was cool to be where Stallion and ACH are from. It just worked out well wrestling wise. Just production wise, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, that's something. So I talked to Danny on Monday, or Tuesday, and we were talking about it. He was asking about Bound for Glory and stuff, and then I was asking him about Austin, and he mentioned production is the biggest takeaway. Like he's like, I need a better look and a better rig, and a better presentation overall in that regard. As if we're gonna go back, and I think he's already thinking about going back. So that's what but he's like production was lacking. We needed presence. Which, I mean, I'm thinking first time, it's not terrible for our first outing there. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it just ruined a lot of things. Like, I don't even know if I want to post the pictures. They were that bad.
Yeah, I've noticed you haven't gotten me any.
Yeah, I'm not happy with them. And then, I put my GoPro on top of my camera.
Mm-hmm.
And the footage came out bad from that. I wanted to use some of that. There was just a lot of things that I had expectations for, and it just didn't meet any of them. Like, I was just sad because I was super hyped for this show, and Danny really wanted me down there, and like, I'm gonna get some photos out of it. It was just one of those shows where I'm like really bummed about. When I'm really bummed about a show, I kind of just let it breathe for a little bit. Like, it's been a week. It's gonna be a week tomorrow since the show, and I think over the weekend I'll get to the photos.
Yeah.
It just kind of bummed me out. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm usually really positive and stuff like that, but production wise, the show wasn't the greatest and bummed me out. Wrestling wise, I was really happy with the show.
Listen, from all accounts, wrestling wise, I heard it was great. Danny said the crew was good. The boys were in good spirits. Even the guys I talked to, who were there when I talked to my Bound for Glory, said it was great. Like, Rich loved it. He was like, man, it was a badass show.
Yeah, it was a great show. It was fun. And it was cool. Like, I recorded all the promos outside before the show started. So it was really, like, it was great lighting outside because it was bright as hell outside. It was in Texas. The weather was beautiful. Everybody was in a good mood.
What time did the show start?
8:00.
So a little later than normal.
It was a little bit later, but I think we don't know how traffic is down there, and I don't think we wanted to assume anything because, I mean, our Friday show, let's be honest, ended up starting around 8:00 anyways because everyone's dealing with traffic.
So was it right downtown? Like, was it near where Wrestle Circus used to run? Or
yeah,
what was
it wasn't
the
that far from what I heard. But it was in the middle of downtown Texas.
Okay. So a hot area, like a busy area, where?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of shopping stuff in that area.
Do you think we got any casual walk up?
You know what? I honestly don't know about that. Because I was just so focused on production. Like, I was helping Brian set up lights. I was worried about recording promos, editing the promos, getting them to the iShoot wrestling guys because they were the ones streaming it.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this for a second. So who is iShoot Wrestling? What's the deal?
So they do a lot of Twitch stuff. They've done stuff for Rise. They've done the TNA One Night Only stuff. Okay. They just do a lot of stuff. I mean, it was pretty good. I got to meet a lot of the production guys. A lot of the people saw my work before, and that's always cool to meet people who know of my work.
Oh, absolutely.
They know of AAW and all that stuff, so it was cool to talk with them. Like, people-wise and wrestling-wise, like, I don't have anything really bad to say. It was just refs and lighting were the biggest downfalls of that show for me.
Cool. You know, what was interesting was I was talking to Scott Demore the next day at Abyss's Hall of Fame thing, and I was impressed with how, like, he immediately was like, how was Texas? Like, one of the first things he asked me was like, how did Austin go? And I was like, man, I was thinking to myself, I was like, these guys are so on top of, like, where their talent is. Like, he knew, I mean, he knew right away. And I said, from what I heard, it went great. You know, I wasn't there, so I'm going off what I heard, but yeah, it's I mean, word was out. I heard the draw was good. Like we did okay. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
like seats were packed and stuff like that.
it could look
It was
good.
weird not to have
when I
a
streamed it.
guardrail.
Yeah, that's the takeaway. Danny mentioned that too, that he wants guardrails and signage,
Yeah,
but
I like guardrails. I'm not gonna lie.
it creates an
Um,
image. I think it creates a good presence to have a
it's not even
guardrail.
just creates an image, but well, yeah, it does. But it's a nice way to have separation. It was weird to have fans coming up to the ring, and I know a
Yeah.
lot of people like that style. It's just AEW. That's not AEW style.
That's not our thing. Yeah,
It's not our thing. Like a lot of other people have that, and it was a lot of fans were coming up to the edge and blocking shots. They were just having a
Yeah.
good time, and I'm not bashing on them for that, but it was just a weird thing to deal with.
no, that's cool. Yeah, definitely guardrails though. I'm sure they can get that locally at some point.
Yeah, I'm
What,
sure.
what was the company that Danny mentioned it to me? Was it Inspire Pro who runs down there? Who runs
Yes,
down there?
Inspire Pro runs down there.
So that was Inspire, like helped a lot from what I understand.
Yeah, they had a local talent that did a pre-show match.
Okay.
So
Did it air on Twitch or no?
no, that was a pre-show.
Just strictly pre-show.
Yeah,
I wonder if that'll make the DVD bonus footage.
maybe.
That's cool though, man. So you had a good time. Let's talk about your drive back.
Mm. So we drove through a tornado.
Legit tornado.
Legit, like we were driving, we had a tornado advisory.
Okay, so real quick on this note, I remember you guys told me you were like on your way, and then I check Facebook later on, and then like it seemed like 9 hours later, and then Brian's checked into like Whataburger still in Texas. I'm like, how are these guys still in Texas right now?
So we tried to stop for like half hour,
Yeah.
let the storm pass.
Okay.
We drove right back into the tornado because we were looking on weather.com and the tornado was on an angle and the exact angle of our drive path.
So wait, did Myron ride back with you?
Yeah, Myron rode back because we had to get him back to his car.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So we stopped once, drove right back into a tornado, then stopped for like an hour this time. And just let it completely pass, and it worked when we did that. When we did it that second time,
Yeah.
we let it. We like I said, we stayed for another hour, and then we drove back. Like we were supposed to get to by Myron's spot at 10:30. I think it said it was like between 9:45 and 10:30
On Sunday night or Saturday night?
Saturday.
Yeah,
And
Saturday night.
we didn't get by him until like 1 a.m.
Oh my god.
So then, yeah, we get up there, and then we get back to my place at 6 in the morning, and so we wanted to wait for the car rental place to open, and we thought it opened at 8. We get there, place doesn't open till 10.
Oh my
Even worse part, we were just able to drop off the keys.
god. Are you serious?
Yeah. So we were just so aggravated, and luckily, like I slept after we dropped off Myron.
Yeah.
I slept for like 6 hours. And
Okay, so
then
you were good.
I was pretty good. I was pretty good for the rest of Sunday. Like I didn't go to bed until that Sunday night. Luckily,
How was Brian? How was he
Brian was
holding?
good. Yeah, no. Brian was good. I mean, we were both we were both agitated normally. Like,
Right. I mean,
wasn't-
with good measure, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah.
any frustration he had, completely understandable. Me and
Now,
him
did you-
both were just, me and him were just like kind of done,
Yeah, oh, for sure.
frustrated. I mean, it's a lot of driving to do in 3 days.
Now, this is you and Brian's second road trip. You guys went to
Revolver.
Revolver in Dayton, right?
Yeah, we went for Nyota takes Dayton.
Right. So, would you say you and Brian are closer as a result of this trip?
Yeah, I mean, we're used to I mean, driving with Brian it's pretty chill.
Are you closer to Myron Reed? Is Myron Reed now your your best friend as a result of this trip.
Myron's chill with us. But Myron's
Did you
scary
sing?
to drive with. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you sing him the song? Did you tell him about the song?
Oh yeah. We listened to the podcast on the way.
Did you?
Yeah, we listened to
with Myron.
I think we listened to the part. What was the previous episode before the preview?
We did the tournament breakdown.
The tournament, yeah. So we listened to part of the tournament, and then we listened to the whole. We listened to the whole preview.
Oh,
and he heard the song.
What did he think? What did he think of it?
He was just laughing. Myron's chill to drive with. He's not like demanding or anything like that.
Well, Myron's he's 23. He's a young kid.
21. He's a baby.
He's a baby, man. He's a baby.
Yeah, he was just telling us about what he does in Kentucky and all that stuff. So we got to get to know him better.
Nice. No, that's cool. I'm glad. That was fun, and you guys made it back in one piece. And you're right back to work this Friday on freelance, right?
No, actually, I took the day off.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, like I said, when I'm saying I was just drained, I was like, you know what? I need to give myself a day.
Okay.
Or I need to give myself a weekend to just do personal stuff. So
I agree.
I'm going to a Halloween party tomorrow.
Good. Enjoy yourself.
Whatever this will air or whatever. But I'm going to a Halloween party.
All right,
just
cool.
Kind of cutting loose a little bit.
You doing you, boo. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I just need to because we go back into AAW next week. And then November is just crazy.
November is bananas. But yeah, man, so good. I'm glad you guys made it back in one piece. I was way northeast of y'all in New York City for Bound for Glory weekend.
Yeah, so how was that?
That was fun. Number one, it's my favorite city. I love New York, and I had a great time. And
how do you pronounce water?
Water. So I get there, and so they had a Business Hall of Fame thing on Saturday, and then the Bound for Glory was Sunday. So I talked to Moose about getting in. I'm like, hey, just can you get us into that? Because it was a ticketed event and pretty tight capacity from what I understand. So Moose is like, yeah, just hit me up. Let me know. So we get there, and as we're walking up, James Mitchell is outside having a smoke. And Jim Mitchell's the man, the fucking man. So he remembered us from Florida because we talked to him in Orlando last year at Slammiversary. So we're shooting the shit, and he was a little nervous about his speech. He's like, they told me 15 minutes. I did it with my wife, and I had time me, and it came in at 33. So I'm like, shit, what do I do? So he was kind of freaking out how he's going to pack in what he wrote for 33 minutes into 15, because they're streaming it on Twitch, so they had to So, and I said who would limit you? And he goes, they're streaming it, this and that. So we just ended up walking in with him.
You would think if they're streaming it on Twitch, there wouldn't be any
that's what I thought.
Time limits.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe they just wanted to keep it to a certain thing because they had they had to fit in a couple of things. Maybe they only had the place for so long. But it was, whatever. It was fine. But we ended up walking in with him, and then we get upstairs, and the whole roster's there. It's it's super packed.
It looked like a really tight spot. Was it in the basement?
No. So this place in McHale's, it's right off of Times Square, kind of near Rockefeller Center. Really nice place. It's a 3-floor place. They had the whole top floor, and they had their own private
dining
area, private bar, and it was sunken down, and then the actual Hall of Fame spot was in this elevated room up top, and so you could basically, and they had TVs for for the lounge area, so if you weren't sitting in that capacity, the actual room, you could watch everything and hear it all in the lounge room, where the bar was and stuff. So we just walked in with him. We saw Moose. He's like, "Oh, you didn't text me." I was like, "No, we're cool. We got in, whatever." So we're just kind of like they were still setting up when we got in, but we just kind of we took a seat in like the main room, which was capacity tight. I mean, they had the roster on some side. They had folks from Anthem on the other, and then some fans, and then more fans in the room behind us. It was awesome. It was like the tribute video was fantastic. It was like probably one of the best tribute videos I've seen because it was so long, but so emotional. And on top of that, they had WWE guys on it. Like Kurt Angle had comments on it, Bully, Mick Foley, Christian.
I think that explains the meeting that Callis and D'Amore had with Triple H.
I'm sure it's part of it.
Back.
I'm sure it's definitely part of it, but they were all on it. Those guys were on. They used. I mean, the video was fantastic to the point where I was like, I need to see this again. And I actually tweeted their producer Kevin Sullivan. I was like, I really hope this makes it online because I'd love to watch this again.
Yeah, and they posted the full thing on YouTube.
They didn't put the tribute video on YouTube. He sent me the Vimeo link because Vimeo is higher quality.
Send me that.
I will. He sent it to me personally because I mean it had copywritten music in there and stuff, so that's why it's a private link. So I'll send it to you. But he tweeted it to me, and it's out there. It's not like he was hiding it.
Okay.
Vimeo is higher quality. So like I know like some movie makers, and they all prefer Vimeo because of the quality and stuff.
Botchamania goes on Vimeo too.
The quality is way better on Vimeo. It's just they're not as widely known. But his speech, Jim Mitchell's speech, was ridiculous. They let him go the full 33. He just kept going, and it was great. Abyss did his speech. It was awesome. Dude, he had me tearing up. People were tearing up in the crowd. It was really emotional. But one cool thing I found out though, listen to this. He at the end he gives a shout out to his mom, and he said, I'll dedicate this to my mother. Her name is Rosemary, and I want to. Oh. And I was like, oh no way! He named Rosemary after his mom, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's dope.
That was dope, yeah. And his speech was really moving. He had these amazing quotes, and it was like just a very deep speech. He did his, and then that whole thing with Aries and Johnny happened, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, should we talk about it? I mean, because now from whatever we heard, this was all a shoot, and everyone thought it was a work right until the ending of Bound for Glory. Right.
So Aries walks in late, kind of like during Jim's speech, and he's kind of like, people are like, "Hey, Austin Aries," and he's like, "Shh," it's like just quiet, let him do the speech, and he goes and sits down. Abyss finishes. Josh is about to sign it off, and Aries is like, "Can I say something, please?" And he's like, Josh is like, "Oh, okay, well," and Abyss is like, "Totally fine, yeah, of course, absolutely."
Well, yeah, because I mean, Aries is technically.
Well, he's the champ.
He's kind of like an original. He's a champ, and
yeah,
he's figuring it's a Hall of Fame. Like, regardless WWE or Impact, nothing is ever bad has happened at a Hall of Fame, nor should it.
Nor should it. Right.
This is not a time for angles. It's not a time for
right
self-promotion or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. So he gets up and he starts off with a really nice speech, like really, really nice. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. It's genuine. He mentions how it's been a very tense week. He goes, I said a lot of things I regret, and I'm sitting here listening to one of the guys that is the most respected people in this industry, and nobody has a bad thing to say about him, and it made me realize some of the things I said this week were really bad. I feel very terrible about myself and what I did, and it's humbling to be in his presence right now and hearing all these good things, and I'd like to be that. And he goes, but I question that sometimes when I took my tweets down, and I'm questioning that because I'm trying to be better, being influenced by people like Abyss, but then I hear things like what this guy says, and he points to Johnny, on TMZ after I've apologized, and it resets me. And then and Johnny's like, hey, it's not about you, man. This is Hall of Fame. And dude, shit was on. It's like
it got intense. Yeah, that part of the clip that wasn't on the Twitch stream made it online. Somebody recorded it.
Yeah, actually, my friend Miguel recorded it,
Okay.
and he's the one who put that out. And
Shout out
dude,
to Miguel.
shout out to Miguel, who runs a really awesome Impact fan news page. It's great, called Impact Fan Nation. But dude, this got ridiculous. It was like F this, you might, and they're brawling. They threw a bat. They threw all sorts of shit. I mean, one of the Anthem execs got knocked down. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was like, what is happening?
Dude, it was the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen. Like in that context.
I couldn't
and
believe.
I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way. Like, Impact has done some really fucked up shit in the back in the day, but I was like, there's no way for Abyss's Hall of Fame speech they're gonna let an angle go.
Not after all that emotion that just happened. Like, dude, people were tearing up. Like Abyss, Jim Mitchell were like, people were in tears during that speech. And I'm like, there's no way this is an angle. And unreal, unfucking real how ridiculous that thing got, man. So it was a little much. Everything calmed. I mean, they calmed it really fast. I will give full credit to the staff. They calmed it really fast. Most people thought it was an angle, you know what I mean? So people kind of like let it go, and they were like, whatever. Because people kind of diffused, like the fans kind of diffused. You could tell that people were a little uneasy, but everybody kind of moved on quick because they separated them. Everybody left, whatever, and then they started doing photos of the Abyss and everything, and then everybody was hanging around. I got to talk to Scott D'Amore for a while. He's a really cool dude. Loves AAW, loves Danny. He really put him over, put us over. He was a big fan.
The one interaction that I've had with Scott and Don at WrestleMania last year was nothing but fantastic. Like, I was backstage at Impact, and they were just great to deal with. They were super polite to me, super chill. Don,
I didn't get to talk to because he was busy. I think it was a little damage control.
Yeah,
I was trying to wait for him, and Scott's like, "Hey, hang on, he'll be right back." And
because
I didn't want to
the
bug
thing
him.
that got damaged the most was Don and Austin's relationship. It seems.
Yes, and they were really tight, so I don't know where that leaves them, but again, like I said, after it was kind of diffused, everybody was cool. Like Abyss hung out, talked to everybody. I hung out with Petey for a little bit. I talked to Ed Nordholm, who's a really, really good guy, and would love to work with AEW as well. Like he's like, we're trying to get to Chicago. Be in touch, please. Let's talk. And I said, and Scott was just like, tell Danny to call me already about. Like he's like,
That's what we've all been pushing for months,
dude. He's like, seriously, just tell Danny to call me about this already. He's like, we'd love to work with AEW. So I mean, I know Sammy mentioned it too. So let's see what happens.
You think Austin's booking rate got cheaper?
I think his career rate got cheaper. I don't know how you have credibility after that. But no, it's cool. Hall of Fame was great, and then didn't know we just went out after we left. I did see Aries downstairs. He was hanging out with Gail Kim. He looked extremely tense in like the basement, like the bottom level.
Yeah.
And I see the whole time in my mind, I'm like, it's a work. So I kind of went up to him like, hey, what's up, dude? How are you? Like him and I talked like 4 weeks ago at Warrior Wrestling.
Yeah. And
he was in a great mood. We had a great time. And he was super tense and just kind of did like the super intense look at me and just kind of gave me a fist bump, and I walked away. I'm like, all right, yikes. So, but that was
you were even still kind of confused about it when we were talking about it. And this is something I just want to point out. We don't really like to talk about backstage drama that we're not around with. Like, we're not gonna talk about WWE rumors or something like that if we aren't at that situation. The only reason we are bringing this up is because Trent was there.
Yes, exactly.
And saw all of this happen. He was at the Hall of Fame. He was at Bound for Glory. So this is the only reason we're bringing it up. We're not a gossip podcast or anything about that, like talking about anything that we saw secondhand.
Yes, we need to clarify that. This is all because I witnessed everything. So that, and then the next day, Bound for Glory. This time we did hit up Moose because Moose and Nicole, my girlfriend, have a all of a sudden it has turned into
platonic. It's platonic.
Yeah, it's platonic. I'm getting a lot of shit for this. The fact that she's become his personal masseuse. But he hit her up, and he's like, "Yeah, come on in." So we walked in to the Melrose. Like, we bypassed the line. I'm like, people won't stop a girl. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. So we just walk right past. We go in. This Carrie's like, whoa, what are you two doing? And she's like, oh, I'm here. Moose needs my help. I'm like, that's your line? Moose needs my help? And then he's like, and then they were just like, yeah, come on. She's like, I'm a nurse. I'm here to help Moose. And she's like, all right. So we go up to the locker room. Everybody's there. Moose is there. He does legit, she would say, have a very bad, like, muscle that's kind of flared up, like neck to shoulder, I guess. And that's the thing that's really bugging him. So she just hung out, was working on it with him. And I ran into our boys. I saw Sammy came up to me, hey, what's up, dude? And then Dave and Jake, Rich, just shooting the shit. It was surreal for me. I mean, what's crazy is I see half this roster at AAW, but still being the biggest Impact fan, I made it to the Impact locker room, which I thought was cool. It's
just cool to be in that environment.
It was. The locker room was really nice at Melrose. Did you go in that?
Yeah. So
yeah,
okay,
you told me about the view. Yeah.
To describe it,
yeah.
Melrose Ballroom is like a multi-level place.
Yes.
And the locker room, the best part about the locker room is when you go upstairs, there's a balcony that you can look to the city. Outside of which, nice. So it's really nice because if like you want to get a smoke break or you just want to catch fresh air, it's really good, especially after you have a match. It's a nice place for the wrestlers to cool off, and not feel like you're just in this hot, sweaty place. Like there's like a bar area up there that when we were at GCW, we all kind of abused, not like with like booze or anything, but like we were trying to get water and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a nice locker room.
Yeah. It's super open. It's like, I mean, I don't know if it was packed anymore, if there was any Impact production stuff. It looked like they were taking pictures on the balcony after after Morrison won his title. I saw the spot where they were taking pictures for Morrison, and I recognized that there's like this because the balcony area is not like. It's not like a balcony like off a side of a building. Like it's like a patio almost style area.
And it's kind of privated too. Like it's kind of private on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like so which is nice. You can go chill out there and do whatever.
Yeah, I love Melrose Ballroom. Like,
oh man, the sound in there. Holy shit, dude.
The lighting in there.
Lighting, sound.
So Scott Leash, or Scott Lesh, was taking pictures from the crowd. He actually got on the second day of Impact tapings. He got upgraded to front row, so he got a lot of really good shots. And he was on the hard camera side, so he was getting like a lot of really good poses and stuff like that. And the lighting
he was in the crowd.
Was just so good, huh?
He was in the crowd.
He was in the crowd all 3 nights.
There was another guy ringside, and the guy looks so familiar. The dude ringside, you might recognize him. I don't know his name though.
You should have taken a picture.
Yeah, he might be in some of my pictures. I'll have to look.
Yeah,
because he was primarily on my side. But no, dude, that venue's great. The show was fun as hell. Actually, before I even started, I ran into Kevin Harvey, who runs Rise, one of our partners.
Harvey's always good to run into.
Yeah, he was there. He was there, kind of on location for the knockout stuff, and for some Rise stuff, and he's partnered up with them. So, talked to him for a bit. He was telling me about funny stuff that he gets from Rise fans, which I love hearing about. Super passionate women's wrestling fans who have a lot to critique him for. That was fun to hear. But no, dude, show was a blast. I got to meet my other podcast co-host, Kyle, from Total Nonstop Impact. Finally got to meet him. He lives in New York. I got to meet a bunch of other fans I've talked to on Twitter. And some old friends I knew from like going down to Florida. So it was just a party. I'm bummed I couldn't stay for the TV tapings, but total blast. It was Wrestle Pro's crew ran the show, which was they were a really efficient crew. They were super good, efficient crew, and Cam was leading it because like he runs a Wrestle Pro school, so he was kind of leading the ring crew, he wasn't on the pay-per-view, so he was like in charge of making sure ring crew, the young boys are like on it.
Yeah.
So I will say this, I'm not gonna go match by match or anything, but I will say this: the Concrete Jungle match with LAX and the OGs was one of the most brutal things I've ever seen live. the pain you felt just watching them in the ring was ridiculous. But they were all fine afterwards. So it looked. I mean, I was super close. I'm all over TV, so it was nuts to see it that close. But yeah, man, good show. Aries at the end, we've all heard at this point, was an absolutely ridiculous thing. I'm not even gonna get into it. I just think my first thought was you immediately the first guy that comes to my mind who they should work with right now, who wants to come to AAW. Also, by the way, he has name dropped it online. Killer Cross. This dude is
dope to bring.
This dude is next level. I'm telling you. I called it the first day I saw him on Impact. I remember telling Danny before he even made his Impact debut, because Disco Inferno was one of his trainers, and he kept mentioning, he's like, Kevin Cross, you gotta get Kevin Cross. He's the next guy. And I didn't believe it till I saw him, and I'm like, this dude is next level shit. And the character they have him playing is something very unique, and seeing it live is like, in today's wrestling, I think it's extremely unique, and he wants to come to AEW, and I really hope Danny takes that advice.
Yeah.
I mentioned it again on Tuesday. I was like, Kevin Cross is their next guy. You need to look into this dude.
I'm not trying to sideline or anything, but did you see who we announced who's making his debut at LaSalle?
No, I didn't. I might have.
Mance Warner going up against Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, so I don't know too much about this guy. Tell me.
Manser is like old school style. Like, we're talking like 1970s, 1980s style wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Really old school, but he's such a good dude. Such a good dude. And,
where have you seen him?
Seen him Black Label. He's wrestled at IWA Mid-South.
Okay.
Believe he's done Glory Pro before. But just a really fun wrestler. Just a lot of stuff, southern states and stuff like that, like Kentucky area and
cool.
Indiana, all that type of stuff. So it's really good to see him in Chicago area.
And that'll be for the November show?
I think the LaSalle crowd would love him.
Nice. That's for November, right?
For November. So him and Eddie Kingston are going up against each other, which is I'm really excited about. And then one more match that both you and I are excited about: Allison Kay versus Kylie Ray.
Yes. Very excited about that.
Yeah. So it's just a couple good matches. We'll get into a preview on that one in a few weeks.
Yeah, that one's coming up. We got another show between them, but yeah, that's gonna be the second to last LaSalle show, bro.
Aww.
Yeah, tears are falling.
It's a stacked show. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is a really, really good card.
I mean, we're going out strong.
Yeah.
Last couple shows.
This is not the end of our podcast. We have a special guest coming up.
Yeah, tell the fans, the listeners, about the guest.
So, our friends over at PW Revolver have a show coming up called Tales from the Ring, and we have our buddy Phil Stamper, who helps run Wrestling Revolver with them. So it's another backstage presence that we feel like that would fit for the show, and we would like to introduce him and have him talk about his roles and about the upcoming show and get him involved on that.
Yeah, let's hear from Phil.
So
see what he has to say.
We'll get Phil in, and we have Phil on the call. Hey, Phil.
Hey guys, how are you doing tonight?
Good, buddy. Good. Welcome to the BSB.
Right now, because it does not sound like you're at home.
I am not at home. Is it too much wind noise?
No.
You're fine.
Just I'm the audio guy, technically, kind of, sort of, so I can tell when you're not at home.
Hey.
Yeah.
I am on the road. I am 52 miles from Indiana on the Ohio Turnpike.
Nice. And where are you headed? Tell us where you're headed.
I am heading to Pro Wrestling Revolver in Des Moines, Iowa.
Nice. You still got ways to go there, huh?
Yes, I do.
What's the so really quickly before we dive into the Revolver show, give us a brief introduction of yourself and what you do?
So my name is Phil Stamper. I'm the president of wrestling. I kind of am a hands-on, do everything that needs to happen for an event to take place. For Revolver specifically, I help to handle their social media and press. I do commentary. I handle a lot of the promo work and day of social media presentation.
Cool.
And just sort of make sure that all the different spinning plates on sticks don't fall on the ground.
Nice. How long have you been there with them?
I've been with Revolver since the beginning. We've been in operation about 2.5 years.
Nice, and that is fronted by the as we love to call them, the Ohio crew of what is it, the Sammy and the Chris brothers? Is there anybody else involved besides those guys?
The Ohio versus everything.
The everything crew.
Everything. I mean, Sammy is core. Sammy is, the guy in control, and he's made no qualms about letting people know, like, oh yeah, by the way, dude, I'm in charge. So Sammy is the guy to go to. I would say it is that core group. I mean, Jake and Dave and Sammy are legit boys. They've known each other since the dawn of creation, so they really rely on each other and help each other out to make sure things get done. And they have the right people in the right places to also make sure that things are getting done. Brian, whose last name I'm going to horribly misstate, Kanabrowski, I think it is, who is one of the promoters for PWX down in North Carolina, also comes up to help out. Danny Daniels has come in to help out before. So it's a interesting collection of people who all try to have a hand and part in making sure Revolver is one of the best events out there.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, I love Revolver. I've been there for 2 events so far, and it just every show just seems to get better and better.
And it's every Wednesday, right? Every Wednesday night, and then also weekends too. Like
No, so that's where I think you're blending a little bit. So Rockstar it runs in Dayton every Wednesday and then the first Friday of every month. But Revolver is run by Sammy Callahan. So there's 2 separate groups, but they share a lot of the same talent because Sammy, Dave, and Jake all come from Dayton. So they're right there.
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
so my bad. Yeah, I was mixing that up for sure.
No, but that's an easily understandable thing to do because that home base is out of Dayton, Ohio.
Right.
It all runs out of the Rockstar training facility, correct?
Correct. But Revolver itself did start in Iowa. And so we've been going back and forth between Iowa and Dayton and then plus a WrestleMania weekend special event. So we kind of have been rotating where we put on events. And after or just before our August event, Sammy let everybody know that his plan is that we will now be running pretty much every other month moving forward with the goal of trying to even increase that as we go forward.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, because Rockstar, I remember, was the last show the Penta Does Iowa with Impact? Was that the last one in Iowa?
Oh, yes, that was the last Iowa event.
Okay, yeah, that was cool. That was the Impact Partner show you guys did. So very cool, man. Very cool. I'm sorry, I mixed up. I was always thrown off on what's what because it's like a lot of the same talent and the Dayton home base and just having Sammy at the head of a lot of it. So sorry for that confusion, but that's cool, man. Very, very cool to hear. I definitely have to make it out for a Rockstar and a Revolver show at this point. I haven't been to either, so I definitely want to come to both.
Absolutely.
That I really do like with the not Revolver, but with what's the other? Why am I?
Rockstar Pro.
With
Rockstar.
With Rockstar Pro, it's like it's a place where the young talent can get their reps in weekly for the big shows.
Yeah.
At the same time, Rockstar has done a really good job of developing their ongoing storylines. They have a very rabid core fan base who knows exactly what's happening week to week to week. their especially on their Facebook traffic. I see their page, and then there's some other pages that sort of support that scene, and the fans are into it. They know what's going on. They know who's doing what, and who's going where, and it's really kind of cool.
I think that's great. Like on a local level, independent level, I feel it's missing so much. Is that episodic like show structure that AAW used to do that a lot back in we were a much smaller company. We would have that, but as you grow and you kind of start bringing in more of that traveling talent, it's harder to do. But when you have that home based talent, it's you can structure that a bit more. But I miss that. I love an episodic style wrestling show. It's so much fun to be able to follow something, and then like you're saying, the fans following it week to week. They're talking about it. They're engaged in that. That's so cool to me.
And as a wrestler, the more you get out there and the more you're doing it, you're developing your own set. Like you said, the young guys have a great opportunity, but then there's guys who have been around for a minute, and they're getting more out of it, and they're getting more exposure, and they're developing a bigger fan base for themselves too. So all around, it's a great experience. I've had the opportunity to work with both companies, so I love Rockstar and Revolver.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So the show is tomorrow in Des Moines. Is that Saturday? I'm sorry. Is that Val Air Ballroom? Is that what it's called?
Yep, it's at the Val Air Ballroom in West Des Moines, Iowa.
West Des Moines, Iowa. Cool. Now, what's the main event? What are we centered around?
So the main event is the OVE Cage of Horrors match between Sami Callihan, Jake Crist, and Dave Crist, of course, all OVE, who are joined by Larry D, taking on Matt Palmer, Shane Strickland, Jason Cade, and a mystery opponent, all inside a steel cage.
Oh, wow. That does sound extremely wild. Now, is this going to be streaming? Is it a Twitch special or anything? Or anywhere to watch it?
As of right now, no. But as I have found out with Revolver, sometimes things magically happen.
Okay.
But we have had a good run that typically within 24 to 48 hours it's streaming on the High Spots Wrestling Network.
Cool.
So I'm not expecting anything different. Right now, the plan is not to air it live, per se. I mean, last time we did it, we had support from Impact Wrestling to do that. This time, I really think we're going to have a live event. We're going to have a lot of fun, and then it'll be up and available on High Spots within a couple of days.
Very cool. That last event you guys did with Impact, what killed me about it was I'm a huge Impact fan, and my dream is always one day I'm going to work crew for Impact. I just wanted to do it just at least once in my life, and Sammy invited me to do it. He's like, he invited both of us. He goes, "Hey guys, he's like, you're more than welcome to come to Iowa." And I was like, "Oh my god, this is it. This is it counts. It's an Impact show, it counts." And then it turned out it was the same night as one of our LaSalle shows, and it totally killed me.
we were gutted because we really wanted to be at that show.
You're having some British rubbing off on you. You were gutted.
Gutted.
I was gutted.
Gutted.
It is a good word. It is a good word.
I was disappointed and let down because I love working with I love working for Sammy when I get to. It's fun. Things are really easy. He lets me do what I need to do when I'm at a show. Plus, whenever I get a chance to work with Mouse ringside, it's always a good time. And so, to miss that show just sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, we and a lot of times we could skip it. If we had to skip a main show, there's enough crew. But our LaSalle shows are so strapped as it is. We run such a small crew that there's no way we could have missed it. So,
I mean,
hopefully next time.
The LaSalle crew was so skeleton last time. It was just me, pretty much running with like 5 hats on. I was producing, I was editing, I was doing photos and getting the crew wrangled, and it was a lot. So I mean, yeah, the LaSalle crew relies heavily on myself and Trent.
So Phil, have you ever been up here for one of our shows?
I have not been, and I really want to.
Change that.
I think consider this your official invite. I mean, you are in, as our guest. Consider this you're officially invited. Now get up here.
I I appreciate that. I have to figure out when to fit that into my schedule. So if for those, it's the advantages of the internet. I live in Maryland. Revolver, like I said, is kind of all over the place. I'm handling their social media. Sammy is one of the most booked wrestlers in the world.
Hands down.
Right. So and I'll talk to him one day, and he's in California for PWG, and then the next he's somewhere in England, and then the next he's in Maine. Like it's like I'm trying to keep up with him to be like, hey man, we got to figure this out. And it's just all about the coordination of timing and where people are at. But for AAW, I would love to come up sometime. I think AAW itself has such a strong reputation and such great talent. I live for clips sometimes. And when I see stuff, I'm like, wow, that's really cool.
Nice.
I would say a lot of the top guys I think we've seen at Revolver too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of, it's become a thing where you have your super indies and your more well established ones who have a lot of the shared talent. So it's cool to see that you'll have familiar faces when you come over here and watch a show. You'll a lot of guys you'll know personally, probably even that'll be on our shows, and guys are worth a great show. So absolutely, please come up and see us sometime.
Awesome.
So you said
anytime I get to hang out with Phil is a good time.
Woohoo!
So Phil, you said you're in Baltimore. You're in Maryland. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So did you drive from Maryland? I mean, are you driving in from?
I am driving in from Maryland.
Oh wow! Holy shit!
And I turn around and then the next day I'm at Bandit in Knoxville, Tennessee. So this is a big fun loop.
Yeah, I could see that. Very, very interesting. Now, how did you get involved in all this crazy life of pro wrestling? Give us a quick little rundown. How the hell did that happen?
My quick version is, as a lot of people were, I was a fan. I was like 12. I wrote to the WWE. I got a response back saying, "Hey, did you know there's these crazy things called wrestling training schools?" Wow. I knew to be involved that, I had to look into that. And started to explore a little bit. When I turned 18, I had a choice of, okay, do I go the pro wrestling route? Do I go to college? At the time, there were no schools near me. And so I was like, well, I'll go to college, and then found out about a promotion that was near me and ended up working behind the scenes at first. And then about 2 years later, I ended up I had a cancer scare. To be clear, I did not have cancer, but a doctor misdiagnosed me with a pre-cancerous condition.
Oh, geez.
And in my brain, I was like, well, that's it. It's now or never. So I went in and got trained and then found out I didn't have cancer. And I was like, well, hey, I love the wrestling stuff. We're staying with wrestling. So I've been involved with wrestling sort of ever since.
Okay.
So I've had a good fortune of working with I think I've met over something like 70 promotions in 5 different countries.
Oh, wow. Wow, nice. And how long ago was that?
Sorry, a little something in my nose.
We're just going to say last week.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
You can accomplish your dreams too. 70 promotions in 1 week.
Very cool, man. Very, very cool story. That's very impressive. To say you did so much in such a window like that. 70 promotions. What's been and international too? You said. I mean, this is not just the U.S. Is it also international or what?
International. I did a lot of work with the original IWS. So IWS is back and is back running up in Canada. About 14 years ago, when they were really sort of getting their start. I did some press work behind the scenes for them. I wrestled for them a couple of times, which was a lot of fun. And then got hooked up with a couple other promotions up in Canada in the Quebec area. That was just fun. I did an English dub of one WXW event. and then also helped try to sell some of their merch inside the United States. So I was doing press for them, and when they came to the United States a couple of times, in association with CCW, was doing press with them. And that's another way how I got into sort of along my own path in wrestling. I got hurt and really early on, and I was also moving. I graduated from college and was moving to a new location, and it's like I can't wrestle right now. So I started doing press work and writing for promotions just so I was still involved and knew what was going on. And that has also sort of gotten me a little bit of some credibility to a degree, because I wasn't writing, I wasn't like dirt sheet writing. I was like, press release, let me market the events that are happening. But even at that time, like, people didn't look positively at people who were writing who were also in wrestling, because it could be you're going to divulge some great secret. So I had a pseudonym, Nate Stein, and was writing and sending out information as Nate, which also was weird because I was wrestling as Phil Stamper, which is my real name, and then was writing as Nate Stein, and people started to book me as Nate Stein. And it's just weird how things develop.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, cool. Very cool. And so what's after Iowa? What do you have? I'm sorry. You mentioned what was you mentioned it already. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Bandit Wrestling in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And in our meet and greet, we'll have Dr. Tom Pritchard, who's also opening up a school with our other meet and greet participant. You might know him as the mayor of Knox County. Glenn Jacobs is going to be there in our meet and greet, and he's also helping to run the school with Dr. Tom Pritchard. Very cool.
Very cool. That's now is Tom doing like any kind of seminar or something before the show or anything, or is it just on the show?
Just the meet and greet, but he is trying to talk with people who are interested about the school. Really, he's there at the meet and greet to really help establish that the school's going to open, and then behind the scenes, he's going to have a very hands-on approach, agenting the entire event, which to me is awesome. I had an opportunity years ago to do a seminar with Dr. Tom, and it was amazing. So to have him a part of Bandit's going to be really cool.
I hear nothing but great things about any time somebody meets Dr. Tom. It's kind of like nobody ever has a bad thing to say about that experience. So that's pretty cool. I can't remember the last time he made a Chicago. I think he did come to Chicago for a Rise seminar like a year ago. Basil, am I right in that?
I believe so. Yeah.
I thought he did. Yeah, not too many Chicago appearances though. But I definitely wanted to meet him at some point because I've heard nothing but great things. So that's cool, man. Very nice.
The seminar I did with him, one of my random pet peeves is like, it's a wrestling event. Everybody should help out a little bit and do their part. And the seminar was at Pro Wrestling Unplugged. We were at the ECW arena, and there were some young kids who were like, I don't know. I felt like they weren't getting involved or helping. And here's Dr. Tom helping to lift in and bring in the ring.
Oh my God.
And it's like, that's not something you have to do. And all of us were like, stop, put that down. You don't need to. He's like, no, I'm absolutely doing this ring, and don't you ever dare tell me not to do that. And I was like, okay. So yeah, he's really awesome.
How cool is that? That is super cool. What a guy, man. What a great guy. Very nice. So then, is any other highlight matches we should look for once tomorrow's show or Saturday show ends up on High Spots? I mean, I mentioned the main event. Anything else?
Well, that's just one of the cool things about Revolver is that most of our matches could be a main event for most indie promotions in the world. So we also have the WrestleMania weekend return match of PCO versus Walter.
Oh shit! Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. I think this. I kind of always want to like dub it something when I'm doing social media. I always want to be like PCO versus Walter. ... This is gonna hurt. Like just like all I see are just these massive right hooks that these two are gonna throw at each other.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if anybody has seen the promos that PCO is putting up on its social.
Good movie.
Right? So there you go. I feel like I went through that experience.
The PCO is not human trailers. Those things have been insane.
It's ridiculous.
So,
who's producing those? Who the hell's doing
I I don't know. I think his. I don't know what his ringleader is called up there, but I think he is.
Holy shit! I saw this. I'm like, what is going on with this? Like, who was putting the Yeah. I was like, who was doing this? Who was in charge? Who was held responsible for this ridiculousness?
Is this manager Destro? I think that's his name. Yeah. I really think that's his name. Yeah. Like the one where he hung himself to strengthen his neck muscles. Like, okay.
Oh my god.
Literally, he hung himself and he's like, "Don't do this, guys. At home, PCO is not human."
Yeah.
I cannot get past this career resurgence he's had. I mean, he was Carl Ouellet, right? Like in the WWF, like 23 years ago.
Podcast. It was a two-parter. It was really good listen to.
Yeah, I did. I actually did listen to that, and what a guy though. Like he's so cool. But like I never would have expected he would have this kind of resurgence in 2018. Like that's mind-boggling to me. So cool. I've yet to meet him though. I've yet to meet him. Is he? Have you guys met him? I've never met him.
Oh yeah, dude. PCO is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. He's such a good person. Him and Destro both. I love him.
Nice. Very cool.
Really, really cool to work with. Really cool to talk to. He doesn't have an ego at all.
So Phil, let me ask you this: now being around the business as you have, you've done a lot of stuff. You've worn a lot of hats. Worked for a lot of promotions. What would you say is the biggest challenge you face on the independent level? Because Basil and I talk about that a lot. About what goes wrong essentially, right? What are the challenges we have to? What comes up? Because indie wrestling, as you know, shit always goes wrong the minute before it starts, kind of thing.
Right.
So I always love to ask. I always love to ask this question: people who work in it with like us, what's the biggest challenge you face?
That is such a good question. My brain is stuck because I was on an event, not even 6 weeks ago in Virginia for Classic Pro Wrestling, and it was supposed to be a TLC match. It was a TLC match, let me rephrase. And so we hung this rope between two pillars. We were at a fire hall. The fire department helped us to set up this rope. We had a pulley system. We had the belt hung up there. Everything was fine. The entire event, everything was fine. Here it is, main event. We're about to go. I'm in. Here comes the challenger out. Challenger comes in the ring, and the pulley breaks, and it slides all the way over to one of the pillars. Well, it's so tall, there was no ladders immediately available to like redo anything, and they were in the middle of ring introduction.
Oh man!
And so they kind of just rolled with it.
I mean, you have to, right? At that point, yeah.
Right, but it was just like it was half funny. It was half what the heck just happened? What are we gonna do? Like, and they made it work. And so things like you said, things happen. I think the most quote unquote disastrous stuff is like you said, the stuff you can't plan for. Everybody gets to an event, everything's safe, everybody's fine, and then you open up the door to look outside, and there's 2 inches of snow on the ground that weren't there an hour ago. Oh, did anybody know this was coming? That happened. Car breakdown, talent, gets lost on a plane, like, all sorts of craziness has happened that I've seen before.
Yeah.
The thing I think that drives me a little batty the most is when you have to do some of that runaround and like pull it all together to make it work, and then there's people who just don't want to, who put their hands up and just like, don't bother me about it. You fix it, or don't want to get their hands dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, we see it all the time. We get to experience that one for sure. But no, interesting, man. There's no shortage, right? No shortage of issues that'll come up every show. Like there's always going to be something. I guess that keeps it indie. That's kind of indie. That's what makes it what it is, and gives you that rebel spirit to kind of think on the fly. I mean, I often say like you to work in this business, you have to have a quick mind. You have to be able to think on your toes and like react in like half a second in order to make something work. And
Right.
no, that's great to hear, man. It's nice to talk to other guys in our industry, like on our in our at our level in terms of like independence and whatnot. Just hear that we're not alone in facing some of these dilemmas that we have to face. That's very cool. Very nice.
I mean, definitely the world of wrestling and like the ability to do promos, and I think in many ways that helped me be better at public speaking. In many respects too, and I do acting work, so it's all been able to feed into each other and helps each other.
Yeah, I mean, and it all falls under that banner of art. Like you get to create this art, and one the skills of one drive another, and that's great. That's really cool that you're able to do that and blend that into other things. I do it myself with, I'm a musician, working in this industry. I never wrestled, obviously, but but being around it. But I'm also a musician, and I also do other things, and in that realm. So I totally understand like how one can feed the other, and it's great, and it kind of makes you better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Very cool. We forgot to mention one thing, Phil. You are the first guest we've had on this podcast ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't mention at the beginning.
Not like, we technically had Two Heels and a Face when we did the joint podcast.
But it was a joint that was a show on their turf though, which we just did a joint pod.
Yeah, we did a joint pod, but actual guests, this is the first one, and this is what we want to do. We don't want our podcast to be just talking to two wrestlers about normal stuff. This is the type of stuff that our show is about. Straight facts about the show,
production, and the creation process of the show is what our focus was. We figured, our approach was that nobody's talking about what goes on to make the show happen, and we want to talk to people like yourself who are like us, who make make the show, who are behind the scenes of bringing it to the audience.
Right. You saying that made me think. So I also work for MCW Pro Wrestling in Maryland, and I'm their general manager. And not gonna lie, when I first got there, I was like, I'm gonna be their on-camera guy. That's it. That's awesome. And then I realized, oh no, they really mean it too. Like behind the scenes, I'm gonna be doing stuff there too because it's a business, and we have to handle business. And I remember that moment of like, oh yeah, totally, I'm ready for this. Let's go. So it was interesting to kind of jump in there at the time I got brought in. And that's just been a blast to be able to do all of those things, like you said, and tie it all together. And, it's art, it's a performance, it's a sport, and how it all plays off each other.
It's great. I mean, it's really thrilling too, right? I mean, you feel a rush because it never hits me until after the show is over what we just did and pulled off. And I don't know if it's the same for you, but it's just you're on such a high seeing the production you put into play work and pull off into a successful show. So I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I figure I'm not. I feel like you guys know where I'm coming from on that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very cool. So yeah, do anything else you want to plug? Where can we connect with you? Where can people find you? I know you say you do some acting also. I mean, plug it all. Let us know where we can find you. I'd like to look you up a little more too.
So since it was very fresh this week, it was actually on Investigation Discovery's Evil Twins. I was not an evil twin, but I did kill somebody. So you can check it out. It's on demand on Investigation Discovery. Again, it's called Evil Twins. You can follow me on social media on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Snapchat at PS Phenom. That's PSPHENOM. And
nice.
On Facebook at Desk of Phil Stamper.
Cool. Now what is the Desk of Phil Stamper? What goes on at the desk? Is that where all the creativity is done?
It started to become a repository of all the stuff I was putting out, all the press releases, promos. That's primarily what it's been used for. And kind of secondarily, I created, a lot more people were pushing content on Facebook Live and more video was going out there. So I created a Facebook page called Wrestling on Facebook Live. And that has kind of grown a bit larger than I expected in the last year. It's not super huge, but there's about 4,000 people on the page, just sharing content, and that's really what it was about. That I can't promote everybody, and the promotions I work for that I'm promoting, I work for them. I get paid to do it, and it's part of my job responsibility. So I really can't promote every single promotion that's out there. I'd love to, but I don't physically have the time to do it.
Sure.
So that page allows other people to post their own content, share content, create videos and post them on the site. Like, do it. It's all about the content creation to get yourself as a talent known and to get the promotion you're working for known. Because again, if it's a collaborative relationship, people need to know where to come find you and know where you're going to be so they can come see you. So it's you build content for people to go see you.
Very nice. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a business that relies on that kind of connection and those kind of, that kind of support system where you have platforms where you can display those things and connect with other people about and plug yourself, plug what you do. And it's great that you're providing that. I mean, and it's great you're a part of something that gives people that platform. That's awesome. Very cool to hear, man.
I'm trying, and that's just it. Like I mean, between what I do already for other companies, and I feel like that's the one area that a lot of people struggle with is the ability to market what they have to offer. And you really have to work at it. It's a hustle. It's like any other business. If you had instead of a wrestling promotion, if you owned a mom and pop sub shop, but it wasn't along the main drag in your town, well, how do people know where to come find you?
Exactly.
And if you start thinking about it in the way you would think about any other business in the world, okay, what would you do to market? Be online and have a presence. Talk it up to the businesses you have in your area. Make a word of mouth presence. Start talking to your police and firefighters and say, hey guys, here's a few free tickets, because those few free tickets will be spread very thin and more of them will come than you've given tickets out to. So and police and firefighters are the best word of mouth in any community.
Interesting. Take note, everybody.
Right. I mean, I have so many little dirty, cheap tricks about how to market and advertise what you do, because if people don't know, if you're not making the noise to let people know that you're there, then people will never know to come. It's not Field of Dreams.
Good point. Very good point. No, and you're right. You're right. You have to. I mean, it takes that extra bit of effort. In any type of business, especially in art, where it's so subjective from consumer to consumer, you need to push that much harder to get past people's walls. People have a natural hesitation sometimes when it comes to an art form, so you have to, let alone a business. So that's great. That's really cool. I mean, it's great advice. I mean, I hope that everybody listening to this gets that and takes away from that. That's very cool to hear. Well, Phil, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you coming on. I know Basil does too. He's been a little quiet because I've been talking a lot. Sorry, Basil. Very cool, Phil. I'm gonna definitely come see you at a show very soon, sooner than later. And I'd like you to come out and see us one of these days. I know you're a busy guy; you got a lot going on. But if you can fit it in, absolutely. We're definitely gonna try to work it out where Basil and I come out and hang out with you on site one of these days.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Now, just so we have a check-in for everybody listening, how far did you get from when we started the call? Where are you at? Did you cross any borders?
I have not quite gotten to Indiana yet. I'm trying to see a mile marker. All right, drum roll. Mile marker 8.
8, okay. All right, we're making progress here.
There you go.
Making progress. All right, Phil J, drive safe. We hope you have a great show this weekend. We'll be looking for the results, seeing what goes on. Hope all is well, and definitely let's connect again soon. We'd love to talk to you again.
That sounds great.
We'll see you, Phil.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
What a great conversation with Phil Stamper. That was a lot of fun. Our first official guest on the Backstage Boys. Looking forward to meeting him in person and connecting with him at one of his shows. So, anyway, We're going to close it out over here, guys. Thank you guys for joining us for episode 11, the Austin and Bound for Glory recap as well. Looking forward to next week's episode. We're going to break down the preview for Dia de los Luchadores, which is coming up on October 26th. My birthday. Mark it down because it's my birthday. So, real quick, where you can find the BSB, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and TuneIn Radio. Look for the Backstage Boys. You can connect with us on social media at the BSB Show on Facebook, Twitter, and maybe Instagram next week. So don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Let us know what you think about the show. You can connect with me and Basil directly on Twitter. You can find me at Vanilla Joke. And you can find Basil at BZ. That's B, 2 E's, 4 Z's, and a Y. Connect with us. Let us know individually what you think. Connect with us at the Backstage Boys Twitter as well. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back with episode 12 next week. See ya.